O
Yes.
mag-isa ka lang?
I'm with
Ayan.
Kelly.
Okay, sumunod.
Ipofil. Nandito po. Attorney Fatima C. Mama. Roy Vincent Perez, is he here?
Andito, Mr. Perez.
Okay.
Pwede
Attorney,
mo po nakita kayo.
Attorney Jeremy John Bayaras.
Saan po? Can you sit sir, sa IP? Oh,
From DNR, we have Undersecretary Ignatius Rodrigo.
wait,
Rodriguez.
I'm not with the NR yet. Andito pa yung tuklas katutubo. So this confusing me.
From that to Panguliman Jason Cebu.
Okay.
And also Napoleon Paris po.
Okay. Who's Napoleon Paris? Thank you. Okay.
John Segi.
Okay.
Anyone from National Archives of the Philippines po? Archives? Ano?
Who's here? National Archives? Yes? No?
None po.
Awan. Okay. Who's this?
From NCCA, we have Executive Director here.
Thanks.
PT Executive Director Marichu, Acting Chief AC Vera.
Director. Oo.
Director Sana L. Lingating.
Okay.
National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Ay, dito po.
Okay.
National Library of the Philippines. Dr. Dolores D. Carumbi. Ayan po.
Ayaw. Jeremy.
Director Jeremy Robert M. Barnes.
Yes. Yes, you mentioned the ENR yata.
Yes.
Gitna na di ENR kanina? Meron. You already mentioned Masangkay and Calado. Yes, can the DENR contingent? Okay. Sige, di ba Masangkay at Calado? Kanina na-recognize na po kayo. Oh, sino yun? Sino nga?
Undersecretary Ignatius Rodriguez and
Ah, yeah.
Undersecretary
Kayo
Jonas
yata pinagbili ni
Liaves.
Tony. Oo, sige. Ano?
Jonas Liaves.
Jonas?
Leo.
Wala. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So, si Yusek lang narito. Okay. Okay. That's it? O nadagdagan?
As and Attorney Gio Gomez. Ayun
Here.
po. Attorney Gio Franco Gomez.
Sino?
Attorney Gio Franco Gomez from DTI.
From?
Madam Chair.
DTI po. Dagdag.
Tricia Austria, and now we have Gio Franco Gomez. Oh, okay. You were not recognized earlier. Thank you.
Meron pang hindi na recognize. From Linda A. Andrade. That will be all, ma'am.
Are-
Alright.
Sino yung taga BIR, please?
Madam Chair, was from B. po.
Ni Ras.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
That will be all, Your Honor.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you so much. And yes, we have very simple agenda today. I don't think there should be any violent objections, I hope. And we call this for the purpose of the Senate's concurrence to the ratification of two treaties, specifically number one, Convention on the Protection and Promotion of the Diversity of Cultural Expressions. I'm actually mystified as to why it's taken, what is it now? How many years? 19 years, is that correct, to get this passed? It doesn't appear to me to be very controversial. I don't understand why it's taken so long, but that being the case, let's get it done. Secondly, the agreement between the government of the Republic of the Philippines and the Global Green Growth Institute, GGGI, establishing the foreign policy, priority areas of economy, trade, and culture, and with a concurrence in this treaty, creative and cultural sectors in the Philippines will have better access to both domestic and markets. The convention also creates a framework for partnership and another key subject of this agreement for the GGGI, one of the leading international organizations supporting green growth policies and investments. The agreement aims to facilitate GGGI's preparation activities in our country, and for this purpose, grants the GGGI and its officials certain privileges and immunities customarily afforded to international organizations within our country. Let us hear from the resource persons to aid this committee in that understand. Kasi nag-aabang kung bakit naman napakatagal. So, yes. Also clear on the definition recognition of special situations where cultural expression are at risk of extinction. And there are 5 major areas that we need to handle, and that's ratification, operation guidelines, implementation and assessment every 4 years, attendance to the conference every 2 years, and becoming a member of the Intergovernmental Committee. Okay, so we have 64 cultural laws, I think, that's my count. We have a cultural mapping one in addition to the Creative Industries Act. We have the National Cultural Heritage Act of 2009, the Philippine Arts Festival, book publishing, the NCCA Charter, the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act, the Magna Carta for Cultural Workers, and the Cultural Education Act of 2013. Okay. let me go very quickly through the questions that remain, at least on my part. And first, I would like to inquire from the cultural agencies. So far, we only have a copy of NCCA Certificate of Concurrence. What about the other government agencies? May I confirm if the remaining agencies concur with the ratification of this 2005 Convention on Cultural Expression? Sa ngayon, ang nagbigay pa lamang ng concurrence ay yung NCCA. I am only in receipt of one. And napakarami nating cultural institutions. Wala pa kayong binibigay. Is there anyone from the CHED who's here who can say yes or no man lang, concur or dissent? Po.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. From NEDA po, we have already signed the concurrence as of last year.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it already submitted to the committee?
I will check, ma'am, but I think we have submitted.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We'll
Uh,
just check po. kung-
Secretary, do we have NEDA's concurrence? In any case, let's
Yes, ma'am,
check,
we'll
but
just-
I have on record your concurrence in any
Yes,
case. Thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Okay, Commission on Higher Education, may taga-ched ba rito? Wala. Okay, I need a concurrence kasi of everybody, no? Syempre, the cultural and educational agencies have prior claim over these type of bills, and it's essential to me that everyone's in agreement that this should be passed. The Cultural Center of the Philippines,
Yes, ma'am. Magandang hapon po. The
yes
CCP
or no lang
supports.
po?
The CCP support.
Okay, sige. Okay, good na tayo. Salamat. Department of Budget and Management, asan kayo? Kanina may parating. May budget implication ba to? Ha? Meron, di ba? Pero wala naman specific. Kasi di ba puro declaratory naman yung UN eh. So, yes, Ivan.
Madam Chairman, Chairperson, we have a copy of the certificate of concurrence of the Department of Budget and Management.
Meron.
We actually have copies of certificates of concurrence of all the agencies
do?
here. Yes, ma'am.
You have CHED?
Yes, we do, ma'am.
Yes, you have to transmit them to the committee. Otherwise, I cannot concur
Yes,
on
ma'am.
the Senate's behalf until I have them all in receipt.
Ma'am, we will transmit copies to the
Teka,
secretary.
so DBM, Ivan?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
yung CHED, meron ka?
Yes, ma'am.
Ayun pala eh. Can you just provide me copies therefore?
Yes, ma'am.
DepEd,
Ma'am, we have a copy as well.
meron kayong concurrence ng DepEd?
Yes, ma'am.
Eh, ayun pala, ba't kami walang binibigay? Eh, kami ang magko-concur niyan. DOT?
Meron din po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. DTI?
Yes, ma'am.
Andito, dumating yung representative, di ba? Okay. IPOPHIL?
Ma'am, we have them as well.
Okay. Ayun pala eh. Bakit wala kaming Komisyon sa Wikang Pilipino?
Ma'am, we have it as well.
Okay. And then NCIP?
Yes, ma'am, we have it as well.
NCMF?
CMF.
Muslim Filipino?
Yes, ma'am, we do have it.
Meron?
Yes.
Okay. Check Jen NRS to provide us with with copies of the same since I don't seem to have anything in receipt.
Yes, ma'am, we will.
Okay. Yes, we're also fully aware that despite the fact that we have all these cultural so-called laws, 64 according to my last count, tama ba? Pagkaalam ko 64 cultural laws, all of which are not necessarily implemented to our approval, no? Parating kulang, no? Yes, I personally would like to inquire about the LGUs because the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act requires that every LGU is supposed to set up a culture and arts council. Has anyone done it? Parang wala pa akong nababalitaan. Sa bagay, bago pa. Do you know? Yes. Are they actually doing this? Which province are you referring to? I know.
Yes,
you're
Madam
not-
Chair. Aside from I'm representing Tuklas Katutubo, I'm
Okay.
also representing Kidapawan City.
Kidapawan.
Kidapawan City,
Okay.
where
Meron
our
kayo?
own very mayor, who is Attorney Paulo Evangelista, has
Yes.
created an executive order creating Culture and Arts
Joseph's son,
Council.
Right? Who's the mayor? The mayor now is Joseph's son. right?
Evangelista, yes, Joseph.
Yeah, they're Ilocano. That's
Yes,
okay. So meron na sila. Oh, well, at least that's good news. Somebody's doing it. I'm going home to Ilocos, so I'm going to check if we're actually doing it. Also, we have dozens of laws that in one way or other aim to promote and preserve culture and the diversity of cultural expressions. What provision of the treaty is still not covered, to your mind, by the treaty or by the 64 laws I enumerated? Ano pang kailangan natin? Puro pera ba? Labis-labis na yung batas, hindi na tayo nagkulang sa batas, nagkulang na lang tayo sa implementasyon at sa budget. Tama ba? Or kulang pa rin ang batas? No, because I think I've filed, for example, cultural policy, laws directing very clear mandates for many things, but they're not really covered by this treaty or by the other laws. It's an effort to posit the general direction to emphasize culture and the arts. Meron pa bang batas na kinakailangan? IPOPHIL, I recall that there were several amendments that we needed to put in place. And one of them, which was most important, at least to me, was indigenous cultures copyright. Given that the copyrights are so short, and also that they're only individually owned, when in fact, the copyrights for tribal designs, for example, would be the property of the tribe or the people involved, and that they should be in perpetuity, logically speaking, which clearly defies IPOPHIL. Anong tingin ninyo? May pag-asa bang pumasa yun? Kasi gumawa na ako ng amendment dyan. Kasi nga ninanakaw at kung minsan binabastos ang paggamit ng disenyo sa amin sa Cordillera. So nag-file ako noon, pero hindi ko alam, okay ba sa IPOPHIL yun?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
For those who steal, or even disrespect IP and other designs, is that correct? Sui generis, so it's beyond law?
No,
Yun ba yun?
a special protection, Your Honor, for the traditional cultural expressions because
Yes,
the IP system.
I've been asking your office repeatedly for some kind of protection. Maski yung tattoo artist, di ba? Yung baybayin, lahat yan. Ninanakaw naman sa atin yan. Kaya lang, wala naman tayong maibigay na depensa at pagtatanggol sa kanila. What can we do? So you said special protection. So it can be covered by IPOPHIL. I'm confused.
No, as
can or it
the system
cannot
that
be
we have now, no, ma'am.
No,
They're in the
correct, but
public
we're
domain.
talking about possible amendments that can help us along in the implementation of this bill, of this treaty. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Yes, we have submitted position papers, Your Honor, to several bills to protect sewage, to protect the traditional cultural expressions with a sui generis law.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
also-
don't seem to be in receipt of any response to our bill and our concern.
May
Well, there are more and more instances of cultural misappropriation of late. Parang nauso kasi yung mga IP, luma, iba't ibang design, at hindi naman ginagamit ng maayos o kaya kino-commercialize na wala naman pakinabang sa tribu. Kaya yun nga, ang hinihingi namin sa IPOPHIL, tulungan naman natin ang ating mga katutubo.
Your Honor, the system, as far as the IP system is concerned, most TCEs or TCEs are already in the public domain. So
Once they're in the public domain, I can't do anything for them? Parang hindi naman yata tama yun. That's in defiance of this treaty. Paano tayo mag-i-implement nun kung yung IPOPHIL naghuhugas kamay?
that's why, Your Honor, we propose that we have a sui generis protection for
So are you
TCEs.
saying we just have a standalone special protection na
Yes.
hindi IPOPHIL? Eh sino mag-implement?
In the
Bakit
bills,
kayo maghugas kamay Kalaki pa rin yan ng trabaho nyo.
in the bills, Your Honor, that were na nag-comment kami, the two government agencies were mentioned, like the NCIP, Your Honor, and the NCCA.
Dami-dami ng trabaho ng NCIP, mamatay-matay na sila sa ancestral domain, kayo naman.
Oh, hindi po siya covered, Your Honor, ng intellectual property system natin ngayon.
Yes, anyway, may I have your position in paper, in writing? I think everyone here is aware of what's going on, both in the Cordillera as well as in Mindanao. The vanishing cultures are vanishing except in commercial disabuse. Yun na nga ang problema natin, no? So, I'm hopeful that you can think of more innovative and creative ways of protecting these very precious cultural treasures. So, that having been said, what is the practical benefit of the treaty to our local creative industries, if any? In theory, our artists and musicians will gain access to the international market. Our cultural properties and products will reach the international market. Will that help in any way?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Ma'am, when we sign or we acceded the convention, we will be able to access the various clauses. One is negotiating exemption clauses for cultural goods and services in trade agreements. So this is something that we can invoke if we are a signatory to the convention. At the same time, there is a real focus on developed countries. We can take advantage of facilitating partnerships with the developed countries towards countries like ours, developing countries. So there will be a lot of culture exchange, and I believe, ma'am, we really
Do you
need it.
think it will ratchet up suddenly after the treaty?
Well, ma'am, it's not something that will happen overnight, but I believe that we will benefit, especially from the exchanges. We really need a lot of capacity building when it comes to the creative industry, and
Right.
we will learn a lot from the international community.
The DBM has arrived. Are you around?
Thank you po,
Yeah.
Madam Chair. This is James Evangelista po from the Liaison Unit of the
Right.
DBM.
I think I need your concurrence also. This may or may not have budgetary implications, but it's most important that you're on board for the concurrence and ratification.
Yes, ma'am. The DBM po submitted its concurrence po dated 21st day of June
Concern.
2022. Regarding, wala naman po kaming other concerns po, ma'am. as of
Okay,
now.
okay. So concurrence.
Yes, ma'am. We
Oh, yun
concur
lang.
po.
Yes or no lang naman to.
Yes, ma'am. We
Okay.
concur po.
Kasi wala pa naman pinapakitang budget.
Yes, ma'am.
Pag nagpakita ng budget, saka tayo magtapos.
Mag-usap.
Okay. All right. Sige. The BOC also happens to be here, ano? In the effort to encourage the trade and sale of cultural products, I've had many, many problems cited, for example, by our visual artists. Andyan sa labas, mga mamahaling painting. Pag sinalabas, ayun, magpipirma sila na i-show sa ibang bansa. Pagpasok, pinapatawan ng buwis, ng custom. Samantalang Pilipino yun, ha? Ipinalabas lang para ipakita at sana ibenta. Pero pagpasok, hirap na hirap sila. So, yun ang problema. Ganun din sa mga taga may kawayan, sa jewelry. Ilalabas nila, ibobongga, i-display ng DTI. Pagpasok, papatawan ng buwis. Paano ba yung sistema dyan?
Ma'am, alam ko sa
Diba dati sa ibang bansa, may karne system para sa mga museo, sa painting, sa valuable items.
ma'am, sa procedure po ng pag-export, ma'am, meron tayong certificate of identification. Bago nila ilabas yun.
Oh, tama. Gagawin nila lahat
Gagawa
ng
nila yun.
ID.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
exactly the same and
Yes,
then it
ma'am.
has all the stamps, it
Pag
has all the
okay na po
documents.
lahat yun,
Pero pagpasok,
wala na po, ipapakita.
ginugulo pa rin sila at humihingi pa rin.
Hindi, ma'am, yun talaga ang dapat yung
O sige, bigyan mo sa akin yung proseso kasi marami pong nagre-reklamo.
Yun nga po. Pag,
Lalo tigit sa painting at saka sa
Opo.
jewelry.
once po yan na-register yan na may certificate identification, yun po yung kailangan ng i-present sa BOC na yan is na galing din sa Pilipinas, ma'am.
Okay.
Para hindi na sila magbabayad.
Sige, sulat mo na lang kaya
Sige, ma'am.
yung tamang proseso
Sige po,
para tuwing may magre-reklamo, ikaw na lang ang tuturo ko. Okay? Siya. Ngayon,
Madam Chair,
yes, Jeremy.
if I may add,
Oo.
there's also a related issue
when we borrow things from abroad.
Yes, the obverse is similar.
Yes, ma'am. We fall under the same kind of rules as things that come from abroad for trade fairs. There's a 6-month maximum period before duties must be paid. But if our loans from abroad are for a longer duration, we have to ask for exemption from the Department of Finance, and that takes time.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. With the DOF and the BOC, nakakaproblema rin yan for imported goods or those that are just being shown here.
Yes, kahit walang commercial,
Oo, walang commercial
intent to
value,
sell,
exhibit
yeah.
lang.
Yeah.
Pang-exhibit lang, foreign exhibit. Pati yung mga embassy nagrereklamo yung, if you recall, the Mexican exhibit several years ago, where they displayed items from the galleon trade. And they had such difficulty bringing it in despite the fact that it was all diplomatic pouch and government to government. Ano ba talaga ang patakaran ng BOC dyan?
Ma'am, pagdating po sa mga ganyan na may mga exhibit, karaniwan po kasi kagaya ng mga sa ASEAN defense natin na ini-import. Bali yun kasi for show purposes, nagpa-file sila ng re-export ban. So pag pinasok sila dito, magpa-file sila ng re-export. Kailangan,
Pwedeng simplehan yan.
yun lang po ang...
Ayun nga, pero lakarin naman ninyo, ano bang pinakasimpleng sistema, yung 6 months nga, ang hirap ihabol. Tapos, hindi naman pagkakakitaan yan eh.
Oo nga.
Mag-aaral nga yung mga bata dyan, di ba? Tapos ma-inspire sana yung ating mga lokal na artista. So, this is what we're trying to simplify and to encourage. In the meantime, pwede ba makipagmarites sa DFA? Bakit ba tumagal ng ganito? Itong treaty na ito. Why 19 years? Was there a violent objection at some point in those 2 decades?
Your Honor, if I may be allowed to read from our records, ma'am. According to our records, the Philippines first considered ratification of the convention in 2008, but it was only discussed in detail during a DFA-hosted interagency meeting in 2014.
Ano ibig sabihin nun? Ang DFA rin ang may kasalanan?
That's what our records show, ma'am, that the DFA initiated the meetings on
Tapos,
this convention in 2014.
Anyari,
And then,
you see, the problem is, pinadala lang to nung September sa amin. Nakapila lang to nung September. So, ibig sabihin, DFA only sent this to us last year. What happened
Oh.
through those 2
if
decades?
I may be allowed to continue po, ma'am.
Oo.
Ah,
No, I'm just saying,
yung process na po ngayon po.
wala, fast forward lang
Okay.
dito, kung kailan dumating sa akin, I'm just wondering why it was only transmitted to me in September of last year.
Okay, ma'am.
Was there a controversy? Is there a true objectionable
Um,
portion of this treaty that we should consider this afternoon?
So, wala naman po, ma'am. It's just that there were discussions po na tapos na-ratify po siya right before the change in administration. So,
Pare, nakailang administration na tayo? 2000.
2022, ma'am.
Kaya nga, aling administration na
2022 po, ma'am.
Nakailang administration na po tayo.
So, understood po, ma'am. So, after that, so all the concerned agencies who are here right now, were able to submit their certificates of concurrence, but
But,
the change in administration po in
Alin
2022
nga?
happened. 2022, ma'am, si President,
hindi, ang dami pang ano. Teka, wag mo na sisingin
ma'am.
ng ating Pangulo.
hindi, hindi, ma'am.
Pare, 2005 to. Sino yung presidente noon?
2005 po,
Bilangin mo.
PGMA, ma'am.
Oh, ay.
Yes, ma'am. 19 years ago, ma'am.
Oh, nakailan na tayo?
So,
Oh, tapos si Pinoy, tapos Duterte.
yes, ma'am.
Ikaapat na ng presidente. Ito ba
Yes, ma'am.
ganito?
So,
Ba't hindi minadali ng DFA ng konti? Hindi naman madali, ano? 2 decades, bakit?
so yun po, ma'am. That's what our records show po, ma'am.
Hindi, I just want an explanation. Treaty shouldn't take this long to be ratified and thereafter
Yes.
concurred in. It's very irregular, and we really look irresponsible and unreliable as international partners. Sipin mo, 2 dekada mag-concur, nakakahiya naman. Ba't tayo ganun?
Yun po, ma'am. That's what
Wala lang, deadma lang.
Hindi naman, ma'am. Hindi naman po,
Ano?
ma'am.
Hindi, masama to eh. Hindi maganda tignan, di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Eh, international pa naman. Siyempre, papogi tayo kahit paano.
It is an important convention po, ma'am.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering. Anyway. Yes, we have so many government cultural agencies, but sadly, this overwhelming delay simply underlies the lack of prioritization of culture and the arts in the Philippines. It's tremendously sad and truly unacceptable. In any case, K-pop. Ano bang ginagawa DFA, NCCA sa dinami-dami ng ating cultural agencies? Ang tanging nangingibabaw at nangangalampag sa ating sining sa Pilipinas ay K-pop. Yun. Bakit? Ba't tayo lugin-lugi? Wala ba tayong ginagawa? Can we do something? I mean, are we getting stuck with some kind of stovepipe na hindi na tayo nagkaka-align? Baka naman sa dami natin, di ba pwede magkaroon ng malakihang project o malakihang kasunduan between all the cultural agencies and we put our heads together and really determined to get something done? Di ba pwedeng ganun? Nagkakaroon ba tayo ng kanya-kanyang smokestack na ayaw mag-share o eto teritoryo ko lang yung IPOFIL, bahala na yung NCIP. Yung parang ganun. Di ba dapat magkaisa tapos eto yung direksyon natin. Parang ganun. Pwede bang ganun? Wala. In another world, yes, Secretary General Enares, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, I believe that this is where the proposal for the Department of Culture is very important because there are so many.
Not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening. No, that's the reality. We are right-sizing the government. Alam mo naman, gipit ang ekonomiya hanggang ngayon talagang naghahanap pa rin ng pera para bumangon ng todo ang ekonomiya, ang taas-taas ng presyo ng bilihin at hindi pa rin sapat ang trabaho. So, it's very unlikely that you'll get a new department. Yun, that's the long and short of it. So that being the case, can't we just work together instead of divvying up into tiny little morsels of budget, littler and littler projects?
Madam Chair, I think what Ivan's comment highlighted,
Ay.
fact that a lot of us around the table, all these many agencies, we get together usually under the aegis of the NCCA, our de facto Department of Culture. So I guess to kind of push Dr. Henares's point, if we can't have a Department of Culture, which is what the NCCA is kind of the void it's filling,
Yeah.
then we need more capacity building and resources for NCCA.
No, I think more importantly, don't we need an idea? One
An idea.
big cultural idea? No, etong kagalingan ng Pilipino, eto yung ma-export. Parang ginawa ng Korea, sa totoo lang. They determined that this was the strongest point, that they had a competitive advantage worldwide, and that such would be easily globalized. Di ba tayo pwedeng magganon na kasundo lahat? O pag-isahan na wag na tayo magpapatayan sa budget. At tuwing budget season, magmamalimos sa Senate, magmamalimos sa Congress, tingin naman ang nabibigay. So, pagkasunduan para may isang bonggang direksyon.
So something po like Sen Sunny's Tatak Pinoy Bill, because I think we were all excited when we were called to that hearing as a possible.
Well, merely encourages products that are Filipino. I was more interested in what would be exportable. I know Congressman De Venecia wants to win the Oscar because Asia Pacific film is very big now. I'm not that keen on the Oscar because I know it's so political. Having ano yung strong suit natin, doon na tayo tumutok. Huwag na natin pasukan lahat ng papasukan pa. Yes, performing arts are clearly a strong suit. I mean, wag na tayo pumilit. Ang visual arts, kahit papano, ang mga pintor natin, sumikat na walang katulong-tulong sa gobyerno, pinahihirapan pa ng customs at ng DOF. Aminin natin, yun ang nangyari. Pero, sikat sila. Sariling sikap yun. At saka yung performers natin, worldwide, and sila, pero nahihirapan. Yes, Ivan.
Madam Chair, just to follow up with what Director Gerald Barnes mentioned, I think the NCCA is really in need of manpower. It's mostly contract of service. DBM has not approved the request for additional personnel, and we don't even have regional offices in the NCCA.
But
So-
you know, you get budget when you put a great idea.
Yes, ma'am.
And so far, the NCCA is still chopped up, sorry, with all due respect. It's still chopped up in all these little cultural sectors na parang walang great overweening plan. I mean, there's no truly inspirational vision somewhere na we can all latch onto and throw money at. Wala,
Yes, ma'am.
parang, eto muna mag-folk dance kasi yan ang type ng DepEd. O eto, may konting film kasi panalo naman kung minsan. Eto, ganito. Parang ganun eh.
Yes, ma'am. We will.
No, I don't mean to be insulting, but sometimes you come to Congress and the Senate and yeah, it's very hard to give money to nothing. I mean, kasi it's business as usual. Palagi ko, ang hinahanap ko magka-revolusyon sa art at culture para magkaroon ng isang vision ba? Yung saan ba tayo? Okay, with all due respect ha, may inis kayo at certain things, right? And we are much better at certain things. So halimbawa, photography, hirap tayo sa equipment lang, patay ka na. Graphic arts, ganun din. Pahirapan yan. Kasi wala tayong equipment. Ganun din sa animation, kahit lang yun. Talagang pahirapan. Mahal eh, mahal ang gamit. Yun. At saka wala naman tayong teacher. Pati game development, pahirapan din yan. Saan tayo kukuha ng teacher? All that stuff is promising, but difficult, right? So what's the line of least resistance? Is there a plan? What are the low-hanging fruit? Are there any areas of culture and art that are going to deliver very quick wins that you can then show to the next budget season and say, hey guys, patok kami, eto panalo, let's go, let's fly with this. Nothing like that's been presented. At least to my mind, I was in the Senate, I was in Congress for 12 years. I'm now here on my 5th year, I believe. At wala pa akong nakikitang ganun, kaya nakakatamad magbigay ng pera. Aminin ko na. Sana may prioritization. Mamuhunan tayo sa pinaka-export quality natin. Mamuhunan na tayo dun, kung ano man yun. I mean, Filipino gold, for example, is a real revelation. I think we should bring it everywhere. But between the rules of the BSP and the DOF, patay ka sa ginto. Tapos, dami, di ba? Ang daming ganyan. Yung performing arts natin na-erode na. Kasi, kanya-kanyang kabig, no? Saka, yung studio system natin is not helping. So walang artistang sumisikat sa Hollywood. So all this stuff, that needs law as well. But I think I also need you guys to tell me, saan ba tayo masyadong magaling? Saan ba talaga namamayag pag ang Pilipino? And doon na tayo tumutok. Parang mas politiko pa ang artist kesa sa politiko. Ibig ko sabihin, there's a little something for everybody. Okay lang yon. A little something for everyone. Pero, bagsakan natin ng malaki, yun talagang may potential. Mag-invest tayo doon sa talagang sisikat. And I think there's quite a few of those. It's not for lack of talent. Yun nga. So, anyways. NGOs. The treaty is very heavy on the participation of NGOs. I think you're here. Civil society and the private sector. Are there any active interfaces between the cultural agencies now existing and the more, well, the better organized and bigger NGOs. Who are the NGOs here represented? Kayo, no? Yung Tuklas at saka, sino pa yung mga NGO? Ha? Kaya nga, Tuklas lang? Ikaw lang? Hindi dapat kasi ganito eh. Ayun, Tuklas, hindi. Pero sa DepEd po kayo, di ba? At saka sa NCIP?
From Tuklas Katutubo also.
Po?
We're both
Hindi. Hindi, yun na nga. Iisa lang ba ang NGO sa buong Pilipinas? Kasi kung basahin mo yung treaty, kinakailangan tumulong sa mga NGO. Kinakailangan hindi tayo naghaharap-harapan na puros gobyerno naman tayo. Kaya yung composition lang ng meeting na to, itong hearing na to, mali na. Mali na ayon sa treaty. Kasi sabi ng treaty, kailangan mag-interface sa civil society, sa NGO, artist communities, vanishing cultures, etc. So kung tutuusin, mali na itong hearing na to. Bakit kinumbida puros gobyerno? Ang dapat kinumbida yung mga kinatawan ng iba't ibang mga tribu, ng iba't ibang katutubo, ng iba't ibang grupo. Any thoughts? Are there big NGOs? I mean, civil society and NGOs need government assistance also, di ba? To incorporate, to cooperativize, and to be active. Anong pagkukulang natin? Bakit sa kwartong to, iisa ang NGO? I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just asking, bakit? Wala na ba tayong NGO na cultural? Yes, Sir Jeremy.
Yes, again, Madam Chair, I have to point out that NCCA is an institutional interfacing of civil society and grassroots organizations with ex officio.
Ano sila?
Yung
Ay,
ating colleagues po.
NCCA, would you like to say something? NCCA.
Hindi, the way
Oo.
structure ang NCCA.
Marami ba tayong NGO na hindi lang natin nakakalampag at
Yes.
hindi nakukumbida sa iba't ibang hearing dito?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. As you know, NCCA has its 4 subcommissions. The 4 subcommissions has its own different NGOs members all over the country. And
Sino-sino sila? Kasi hindi ko naririnig. Hindi ko masyadong naririnig. Halimbawa, at saka anong ginagawa? Siguro yun ang tinatanong ko. Kasi pipirma-pirma tayo nito tapos hindi naman natin gagampanan. Nakakaya naman.
but then again, NCCA is limited as we are as mandated for grants. So that's why we organize
Yun na nga, that's
different.
what I'm saying eh. Kaya nga sinasabi ko kanina, lahat tayo limited. Limited budget, limited tauhan, limited time kasi may sariling trabaho, lahat may day job. Palibasa lahat tayo limited, i-prioritize na natin ang gagawin natin ayon dito sa ating treaty. Yun ang aking sinasabi. Huwag na natin gawin lahat. Parang a little bit for everybody. Yun nga sinasabi ko na, bakit kayo mas politiko pa sa amin? Di talaga pwede yung ganun. Talent is not equal. Ganyan ang buhay. Yes po.
Ma'am, if I may say on the NGOs, I would like to share that I think many government agencies are very scared to partner with NGOs right now because of COA. So this is something that we need to clarify. What are the rules and regulations for
Yeah.
government agencies to be
Yes,
able to
I'm
partner?
familiar. COA is not here and DBM is also helping us with that. Both COA and DBM, 2 agencies that are oftentimes in conflict even with each other. Ayaw nila ng third party, no? Pero nagagawa naman natin ng paraan yan eh. Yung direct purchasing, halimbawa sa farmers, individual farmers and farming co-ops has been affected already in many agencies. So, kung nagagawa sa agrikultura, di hamak na mas madali naman sa cultural. Pagkat ilan lang naman kasi kayo, kukunti lang naman ang cultural, kung ihahambing mo sa coconut farmers, rice planters, napakarami niyan. Pero nagagawa ng paraan. So, I believe that we should be able to do something like that. And what agency will be the point of contact? Sabi niyo NCCA, pero hamstrung na kayo sa kakulangan ng tao at budget. So alin yung point of contact for the information sharing required under Article 9B? It's very, very clear. Is it, are we gonna
Ma'am, it would
talk to
be the,
DFA? I'm sorry. Is it DFA or NCCA? Let's just clarify.
Actually po, hindi po dapat DFA ito, ma'am. Kasi kung cultural...
O, ayun
ano po.
naman, parang IPOFIL. O, ayaw kasasabi lang ng NCCA, may 4 na sektor sila, mamatay-matay na sila sa dami ng trabaho.
Ma'am, actually, we have database of a lot of,
No, this is not the database. This is information sharing. International to. Ayon sa treaty. Walang kinalaman to sa database na lokal.
yes, because they are also, those that are in our database.
Yeah, they'll
are our
access your
database.
database, but you have to share with them overseas.
Yes, po, ma'am. They
Anong
they are
yes?
actively engaged with NCCA in the
O,
implementation. of
dagdagan mo
the
yung
different programs.
7,111 islands. Iba pa to, international to. Yes.
Ma'am, aside from the NCCA, there should be the Philippine Creative Industries Council.
It's not yet been convened.
Yeah, that's right, ma'am. But if once
No,
this,
but by right hindi siya eh. Alam mo yung Creative Council, iba pa yun eh. If you look at the law, it has nothing to do with this. Really. So we have to determine sino yan. Mag-usap kayo, DFA, NCCA. Parehong ayaw, ano? Sabi mo, okay na NCCA. O sige. Ay, tapos iiyak na naman kayo na wala kayong pambiyahe. Who will represent the Philippines in the Conference of Parties? Do we need a special envoy? Should it come from DFA, given the ambassadorial status, ganun ba yun? Or negotiating status? Or should they come from NCCA, who clearly have no experience in international relations? Hindi ko alam ang sagot na. Tinatanong ko
ma'am,
rin sa'yo.
usually, ma'am, if it's a UNESCO,
Kasundo tayo, hindi ko
If-
alam eh.
if it's a UNESCO treaty, ma'am, our representative is the permanent delegate, who is our ambassador to France.
UNESCO ba to? UNESCO naman
Yes,
siya.
ma'am, it's a UNESCO treaty.
So, yung UNESCO, bahala na sila sa Vienna.
Sa Paris, ma'am.
Sa Paris pala.
Yes. It's the Philippine Embassy in Paris, which is our current permanent
So, they
delegation.
represent the Philippines in the Conference of Parties?
Yes, ma'am, of course, but they will ask a
And paano?
representative from
But they
NCCA.
need local.
Yes, ma'am,
So,
NCCA should attend.
NCCA,
Yes,
okay,
that's right.
so, basta maliwanag yan, Okay. Under the convention, International Fund for Cultural Diversity. Ayan. Ano yung financial commitment as you understand it, DFA, insofar as this fund is concerned? Because everybody will contribute to said fund. Kahit malaki, kahit maliit, may contribution yan. So, magkano ba yan?
I think the contribution, ma'am, is 7,100, 325, 7,325 US dollars, ma'am.
Siguro naman, afford na natin yan, DBM, sobra na ha. Yes? Po.
Po yung sa...
Sorry.
Sorry, Bob, I was just reading po yung sa about sa NCCA po kanina. Sir.
Yeah, the annual financial support is approximately 7,325 US dollars.
Siguro naman.
I will relay po to our presentation, ma'am.
Hoy, Ilocano na yung chairman, yung DBM, di pa sumasagot. Ano ba naman? Mapapala natin to. Okay, so that being the case, the concurrence appearing to be unanimous, there is nothing further to discuss, except let us make this treaty a reality and concretize what is contained herein. It is not business as usual. Otherwise, you will get the measly budgets, personnel items, and MOE that you have been getting all this time. Let's come out with a big idea. Maybe this is a ludicrous proposition, but I do believe that it's necessary. Otherwise, despite the fact that we have 64 cultural laws, despite the fact that we have endless agencies somehow struggling with this, we will not get very far. Sayang lang. Ang talino at ang sining ng Pilipino pagkat hindi talaga nabibigyan ng sapat na budget. Yung Tatak Pinoy, maganda naman siya talaga at siguro doon tayo dapat tumutok para isa lang ang direksyon. Pero wag sabog. Yun ang sinasabi ko. Wag sabog. Piliin muna natin photography, palpak tayo dyan. Alam na natin yan. Game development. Tanggalin na natin yung hindi pwede. Pero kung yung may laban tayo, for me ewan ko, what do you think? Saan ba tayo may laban? Para sa akin, may laban tayo sa visual arts. Tingnan mo naman yung Sotheby's, Christie's, namamayagpag yung Ronald Ventura at yung iba pa. Yung performing arts, dati, number 1 tayo dyan. Ngayon, hindi na. Pero, andyan pa rin, magaling pa rin tayo. So, I think we should focus on the things, the areas where we are globally competitive.
Hello, Madam Chair.
Oh, sige
Point of
po.
manifestation po. Napoleon Paris po from Tuklas.
Yeah, any ideas?
Kanina po na nabanggit yung representative or local representative from the NCCA. As we represent the indigenous peoples po coming from our end, so meron po bang representative ng mga indigenous peoples na galing sa NCCA?
Sabi niyo meron. Sino? Meron?
Meron po, may kwan po kami, yung Cultural Communities and Traditional Arts. Meron kaming Northern,
Ba't hindi nila alam?
yun na nga po ang isa sa mga aspeto na
O
Meron
siguro
po kami.
ganito, mag-submit kayo ng listahan.
yes po,
Kasi very important siya under the treaty.
yes po.
Oh, it's very, very clear that you really
And
have to
then we
reach
also
the
have from the
NGO.
Central, Visayas, and Southern Philippines po. So we will submit po.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going very, very quickly, and this is really breakneck speed simply because I have a 3 o'clock session. So we don't really have too much time. I'm terribly sorry. Ano po? Bilisan lang po natin.
Sige
Kasi
po.
we have a whole other treaty to get on with.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I may suggest, we the indigenous peoples would like to request to NCCA to strengthen their consultation with the indigenous peoples and
Oh.
NCIP when they will be representing in UNESCO, so that the voices that they will be bringing will be so much holistic, especially the cultural barriers of the country.
Yes, I agree fully, and that seems to be the direction of the treaty herein, and we must address it. The question of the IPs, of the katutubo, of the vanishing cultures is most important and clearly protected very, very dearly by this treaty. We move on, if it's okay with everyone, to the host country, and I don't need it, yeah. Okay, we go to the agreement between the Philippines and the Global Green Growth Institute to be headquartered in Seoul. We became one of the founding members in 2012, another 12 years naglapsed. 2020, nag-virtual ceremony. 2024, yung briefer, may 10 million worth of financial assistance. Ano yun? Does anyone know? Hindi ko naramdaman yan kahit kailan. Climate Change Commission, may alam kayo dyan? Kayo ang nakatakda rito. Ano yung $10 million worth of financial assistance?
Madam Chair, good afternoon. Meron pong projects ang GGGI that
Oo nga, ano yun?
Opo, may isa po Climate Resilient and Inclusive Growth Corridor po with Provincial Government of Oriental Mindoro and Department of Trade and Industry. This is
Yeah,
4.8
you have palang ng
million.
Mindoro and Bataan. Ano yun?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, but yes.
So yung pong
What
sa
are they ba?
Opo, yung pong sa Oriental Mindoro at Palawan ay CRGG project completed in 2018.
Sorry, what?
It's a climate resilient green growth CRGG project implemented in 2018, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I'm clueless
Worth
about the alphabet.
3.5.
I'm clueless about the alphabet soup. You have to spell it out.
Yes, ma'am, sorry. So it's climate resilient green growth at the provincial level. Funded po ng GGGI.
May I request that you just submit this?
Yes,
Yeah,
Madam Chair.
para
we'll
alam
provide
namin.
it.
Meron rin
Yes.
mga planning framework, business plan. Nabuo na ba to?
Yes, Madam Chair, in the case of Palawan, natulungan po sila ng GGGI to develop their the Palawan Climate Resilient and Green Growth Planning Framework.
Ba't nagkakaganon yung kuweba?
Ito po ay for the provincial government to
Yeah, but
implement, ma'am.
the caves are in such dire condition. So much for your framework. Di ba, they have to close it na nga eh. From time to time. Kasi punong-puno ng turista. Nasisira.
Opo.
Anong silbi ng plano-plano na yan?
Ma'am, the plan is supposed to guide, as you mentioned, ma'am, yung ecotourism,
Kaya nga, pero
ensuring
hindi naman sinusunod
the
pala eh.
resources are used.
No, my question is, anong silbi ng planong yan? Samantalang alam natin, yung caves na napakagaganda, madalas napipilitan magsara pagkat napupuno ng sobrang daming tao. Pero No, it's not a theoretical question. I'm just saying, what are you doing about it? Ito mahirap eh, puros growth roadmap, planning framework, business plan. Pag pumunta ka sa lugar, ang dumi-dumi. Nasisira pa. Paano ba yun? Walang sagot. Wala lang. Anong silbi ng mga plan na to?
Yes, ma'am. Kasama po dyan, nag-assist din po sila on investment and technical assistance
Eh,
plans
yun na nga ang problema eh.
para to pursue green investments for
Yeah, but I'm
these
just saying, you
localities,
go
ma'am.
there. Go there and have a look. It's awful. So, ganda-ganda kaya ng Palawan, nasisira. I don't know. Nakakahiya eh, nakakahiya to sign all these things, global green growth, and we can't keep our end of the bargain, right? Because you said Palawan is one of your models, and it has a World Heritage Nature Reserve, which is in a very dubious state, and from time to time is compelled to close. Eh, anong silbi nun? I'm talking to myself. But walang response. Okay, not my favorite agency. All right. January 2024, you transfer to the committee. Ang tagal ba? Ang tagal mag-transmit ng DFA nitong mga batas na to. 2012 pa to? Bakit?
Yes, ma'am.
Kaya
The
nga,
intent,
you only transmitted this to me a week ago.
the
A
intent
little
to,
over 2 weeks.
sorry po, Your Honor. The intent to,
No, I'm not blaming you. I'm just wondering what's taking so long. Di ba? Itatransmit lang yung kagad.
the intent to establish an office here po, ma'am, was signified in 2020.
Okay.
And then,
And then it took 4
there were
years.
negotiations po regarding the text of the host country agreement. So, na-finalize po siya, ma'am, nung, Your Honor, nung 2023. And then it
Anong
was
finalize? May budget na yan? May
yung-
lupa na yan?
yung host country agreement po, ma'am.
Kaya nga, pero may budget na yan? May lupa na?
Wala naman po, ma'am.
Eh wala pala eh. Why did it take 4 years? COVID or no COVID?
Yun po yung sa discussions po, ma'am, ng
Ano ba i-discuss dyan?
yung mga immunities,
May lupa
ma'am,
kayo, may pera kayo magpatayo. Di ba yun lang yun?
mga immunities, ma'am, mga privileges na ibibigay or
No, but
i-grant
we're
for
going to
them.
discuss that now. That's not even done yet.
Yes, ma'am. Yun po yung nasa text, ma'am. So between the government, ma'am, and the GGGI, dun po yung bulk nung
Ikaw ba yung
discussion po.
legal? Ikaw ang legal sa DFA? Ikaw, di ba?
Executive Director po.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Attorney Reyes, if you could, mechanisms, kasi parating kulang ng DFA yan. Kapag nag-misbehave or nagka-problema sa isang foreigner, di na natin mabalikan. And vice versa, naaapi din sila. So, we have concurrences, tama ba? Please protest pag nagkamali ako. DOLE, DOJ, NEDA, NSA, CCC, BOC, and BIR. Okay kayo dito? Concurrence? Okay, sige. Temporary office and then, so, addition to being compliant, the immunity and exemption, in addition to being compliant with national laws and regulations, siguro importante rin, in addition to being aligned pala with the international laws, dapat rin sa existing national law.
Yes.
So baka sa working group pwedeng
We can
pwedeng
discuss.
isama rin yung DOF
Yes, ma'am.
para aligned naman tayo sa mga tax and other, kasi ang daming tax exemption ito eh. 'Di ba? Para silang embassy. So, meron silang mga exemption. So, yun. Temporary office, existing national law. Siguro we can do a technical working group at the earliest possible opportunity, or is that necessary? Hindi pa. No, so that the language is
clear.
clear. Okay. So, privileges and immunities, they have to look like the other international organizations then, di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
What are the comparable organizations, for example?
For example, ma'am, the language here po, ma'am, is Yun nga po, comparable to those of other international
Understood,
organizations.
but
That
what
would
are-
be
I'm
ADB.
asking you to specify and give us examples of comparable organizations.
That would be ADB, ma'am, for example.
ADB?
ADB.
Okay, ADB lang, mga UNDP, ganyan.
I personally have to check the other HCAs, ma'am, pero
Yeah. Can you just tell me what they are para we are aware what they should look
Yes,
like?
ma'am.
Okay, do they presently sell or purchase securities in the Philippines? Are these transactions in compliance with SEC? What regulatory control do we have?
I'm not aware po, ma'am, of if they are engaged in securities trade, ma'am, pero these are not included in their immunities po.
No, because my understanding is green bonds should be issued. Is that correct? Is that part and parcel of this? Parang may ganun eh. May investment and other financial products in order to raise funds. May ganun eh. Yun ang understanding ko unless I'm totally confused. So let's just be careful that securities are covered by our SEC
Yes, ma'am,
laws
they
and
are.
other regulations. Also, we have to safeguard the officials of the GGI from abuse by locals and vice versa. We have the unfortunate example of the UNDP and the entire scam that became the national broadband. So, mahirap din yan. Naaabuso din yan, pati yung mga diplomatic pouch ng honorary consul na alam natin puro sa alak at sigarilyo. Paano ba yan? Kasi UNDP, di ba, they contracted dun sa national broadband. Hanggang ngayon, wala pa rin tayong wifi. So, ano yung safeguards natin? They're always exempt from suit. They cannot be sued for estafa, fraud, and other similar crimes when they're ostensibly performing their duties. Paano ba yun?
Ma'am, under the proposed, under the text po of the agreement, immunity and the purpose of the grant of the immunity to the officials of the GGGI should only pertain to the performance of their functions po.
Yun na nga, but the argument of UNDP was providing national broadband was part and parcel of its functions. But in fact, it was a commercial contract, which they never performed. Ayan ang problema dyan eh.
With
So
regard,
let's just make sure that we have remedies, we have safeguards, we have sanctions. And also to clarify that former GGI officials can, after their stint at the GGI, be charged with criminal, civil, or administrative cases. Because we've had these problems before, even with ADB, as you know. We've had problems with certain officials. And as I mentioned, that whole mess of the UNDP and the broadband. So I think it's very important, as much as we would like to welcome all these international organizations, we should protect ourselves and concomitantly protect them as well from any untoward incidents here in the Philippines, di ba?
yes, Your Honor.
Sige, basahin lang
We
natin.
are
ang-
ready to discuss this with the
Sige,
technical team.
mag-TWG tayo, tapos yung DOF, pwedeng tumulong, pati DBM, kung paano itong mga exemption. May hindi ako alam dito. Ano yung functional immunity? What does it mean, functional immunity?
Ang difference po nito, ma'am, is with kunwari po sa diplomatic immunity, yung immunity po ng diplomats. Ang immunity po includes acts that are even beyond the scope of their functions po.
Eh paano yun? Akala ko within the performance of their duty. Eh paano kung functional immunity
So-
above and beyond duty?
So for example po, ma'am, in one case decided by Supreme Court, slander po is not included in
Yun na nga.
in immunity kasi hindi nga po naman siya part ng functions ng isang member or official ng international organization. So
Di ba nagkagulo nga yung UNWRA, di ba tinapon na sa Palestine, nagkagulo-gulo na. Dahil kasi nakikialam sila sa lokal, and we've had that unfortunate experience as well, di ba? So paano yun? Covered by functional immunity o hindi?
so like these things have to be discussed po, ma'am. Kasi po, ma'am, for example, there's a provision in the host country agreement that states that in any if there's a dispute between GGGI and the Republic, there will be appropriate modes of settlement.
Eh,
So,
nako, malabo yan.
That's why we.
Yeah, I
the-
think you have to delineate that
Yes,
and
ma'am.
it has to be very clear. What are the expulsion procedures if
Yes, Your Honor.
necessary? Can the government expel GGI officials when warranted? Which seems to be the case in the Middle East. Medyo magulo na ngayon. And then also, we've had trouble in the past with renewable energy. I've had experience with the windmills na hindi nagsasabi kung sino yung mga empleyado nilang foreigner. So we have all sorts of problems with the BID kasi labas-pasok yung engineer nila. Yun. Tapos, kung ano-ano nangyayari because we don't know who they are, they misbehave or they're suddenly attacked by locals or whatever. Paano ba yan? Dapat maliwanag, di ba? Kasi it says here, they will regularly communicate to government the names of the personnel and the persons to which these immunities will apply. What does regularly mean? Can we please be apprised of regularly? Kasi noon sa windmill, regularly meant once a year. I-check ng BID. Ang problema, yung regularly po, once a year, labas-pasok naman yung engineer. Labas-pasok din yung girlfriend. Palit-palit rin yung local girlfriend. Nagkakaloko-loko na kami niyan. So, can we be clarified?
Yes, ma'am. We
Kasi,
can discuss this, ma'am, with.
yeah, I think this should be
and
clarified.
details, ma'am.
Yeah, let's just break it down so that there's no trouble. We're quite familiar. We've had several of these organizations already. We've unfortunately had bad experiences as well as good ones. So let's just try and cover as much as we can. So Secretary Attorney Albert, mag-meeting na lang. Sino magiging member nito? Obviously, CCC, Rachel, kailangan kayo mag-member din ang DFA, si Attorney Reyes. Mag-member rin ng DENR ba? O hindi na kailangan? I think DENR, kailangan ninyo mag-member, no? Kasi talagang mandate ninyo yan. Sino pa ang dapat mag-member sa TWG para matapos to at mahimay na?
May I, Madam Chair?
Yes
Um,
po.
DFA po, DOLE, DA. Ito po yung ma'am yung mga nag-issue
Ay, mga
nag-issue ng
nag-confer.
COC. Yes, ma'am.
Tama.
And DOJ po, ma'am.
Yes, that's right. O sige, so everybody there. Can I please include
Madam Chair?
yun nga, yung immigration? Masyado kaming nahassle dyan.
DOJ po. Sige po,
Yeah.
ma'am. We can specifically include BI.
Yeah, can you ask DOJ to please send somebody from the BID? On one and the DOLE, may DOLE ka, di ba? No, but DOLE kasali dito.
Kasali
Oo.
dyan, Madam Chair.
Kasi kung minsan, hindi nagtutugma or nagdodoble. Kaya, sana maging template siya at hindi na maulit yung mga problema dati.
Yes, Madam Chair, lalo na doon sa issuance ng aming
Work
alien
permits,
employment permit.
alien employment
Yes,
permit. Yun
opo,
nga eh.
Madam Chair.
Ayaw natin pahirapan sila,
Hmm.
pero sa kabila nun, kailangan ipagtanggol sila at ipagtanggol rin natin ang batas natin.
Madam
Opo.
Chair?
Yes,
Madam Chair? For NCIP, we would like to be part of the technical working group
sorry.
because for NCIP, Madam Chair, because we are representing the indigenous peoples. And actually,
Pero ibang batas to ha, hindi na ito cultural community.
Yes, ma'am.
Ito na yung green.
yes, Your Honor, because we have actually an experience where GGGI would want to enter into memorandum of agreement with NCIP
Right.
because they are
You need
entering
clearance, right, in the
into ancestral domains. Actually, we had actually Korea to sign a memorandum of agreement with GGGI. And yet
Okay.
we are talking about concurrence or ratification of
Sige,
the matter.
sige, we should make certain that our laws that protect our indigenous peoples are also upheld. Sige, sama ka na sa TWG at saka yung mga problema. Ang alam ko naging problema sa iba't ibang infrastructure project. Nagkagulo kami rito doon sa Kaliwa Dam, sa mga dumagat at yung iba pa. So I understand that issue and also in the Cordillera it's been an issue with infrastructure projects. I think we had some concerns also with the windmill projects. May kinalaman naman dun sa Yapyapayaw sa amin. So, tama. Okay, let's do that.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
From People's
tumatawag-
Organization po.
Tumatawag na yung aking, alam mo naman, school bukol kami rito.
Yes
So, I'm sorry, I have to rush you.
We
Please.
would like to manifest din po our membership dun sa technical working group, being the directly affected dun sa mga communities in the indigenous.
Teka,
Yes po.
wala pang technical working group. Hindi na tayo magte-technical working group doon sa cultural communities. Ito
Yes,
yung green.
Yes po.
Ito na lang yung green.
Yes po, Your Honor. Kasi we're the people directly affected by.
No, but
Project.
this only talks about the setting up of an office.
Okay.
Set up lang siya ng office eh. Kaya nga yung opisina lang siya eh. Hindi pa siya yung mga infra projects or forestry projects, wala pa. Part 2 na yon. Then I'll have to call on you talaga. Oo.
Okay.
So,
Salamat po, Your Honor.
Yeah. Yes, but I take that into consideration. I'm fully aware of that problem. It has been rife in the north and in Cordillera as well as Mindanao. So, maraming salamat po. I'm sorry, I'm bamboozling you into getting this sent. But as you saw, the cultural diversity issue has been pending for 19 years. Nakakahiya na po tayo. At yung ikalawa naman, matagal-tagal na rin. At napakasimpleng bagay. Gagawa lang sila ng headquarters dito. Pag nakaset up na sila, tsaka natin kalampagin. Yun. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much for
Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Set up pa lang naman sila. Uy, bitbitin mo yung ano mo. Ay.